Lords podcast.
Welcome to the Lord's Minute, our quick hit video series where we talk about all the biggest happenings in gaming and beyond. I'm your host, Ty Swinson, writer for Lords of Gaming. And with me once again is Lord King. We're back after a small hiatus with the Lord's Minute today to cover some breaking news with one of MCU's favorite hot stoppers, Chris Hemsworth. Now, Chris Hemsworth recently took to starring in a new show on Disney Plus called Limitless, but with this show breaking, also news of Chris being predisposed to Alzheimer's came out as well. So this is having everyone in a craze thinking what's going to happen as Chris Hemsworth has decided to take a small step back to acting in order to simplify his life and see how he wants to proceed moving forward with him and his family. So, King, I'm going to kick things off to you. What are you thinking with this news breaking and how this might come into play with the bigger projects of Chris as well as the MCU and Thor? What are you thinking, man?
It was a complete and utter shock. Absolutely utter shock. And I guess this gives the heads up to the people in charge, Kevin Feige and those guys, on how to go forward. So they're not really completely blindsided like Chadwick Boseman's his untimely death. So this is a little gray area because Chris' diagnosis is he's predetermined to have Alzheimer's, or something happened, something transpired to make him go seek this stuff out to find out what's going on. Maybe his cognitive skills are diminishing in some form or fashion. His ability to recall is probably hampered in some form or fashion. Because again, remember, he's an actor, so he has to remember his lines. He has to remember things. So if he's feeling that he's failing in any areas, and then he goes get diagnostics, because on that Limitless show on Disney Plus that's on now, season 1 that's there, this guy pushes his body to the brink, to the absolute brink of human capabilities, to be honest with you. I'm looking at half of the stuff that he's doing. I'm probably like 3 episodes in, and I'm like, this guy has absolute death wish, to be honest with you, but he's facing his fears. Now, I don't know if this diagnosis helped him take that that contract to do this show, because you probably have a bucket list, right? And you're like, well, I have this bucket list. I can go do these things on Disney's dime and document my achievements, my failures, my accomplishments, whatever. Excuse me. And give inspiration to the world, right? To tell people to conquer your fears, don't live in fear, and go into the great beyond as a champion. Or he was going to get all the work up and all the doctor's exams and all that stuff, because jumping in that freezing water in the Arctic and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure you had to have doctors on staff, and they probably saw something and said, yo, man, come back. We got to talk to you. We found these things. How do you want to proceed? And then he goes back to his family and he tells his family, and this is just assumptions. I'm not saying I read this anywhere. This is just assumptions on what possibly could have happened, because again, this news just came out of nowhere. He could have went back to his family, talked to his family, and they want time with him. So I'm pretty sure his brothers are shocked. His brothers are consoling him with this news. So it's not really more about what's going to happen to Chris Hemsworth's acting career. It's what's happening to Chris Hemsworth, the person, first and foremost. And I think everybody should shelf Thor. Thor is a character that's inside a Marvel comic book that lives forever. He's a Norse, a god that has been written about and has been played by different actors throughout time, been written by and drawn by different artists. So again, this is really about Thor and what's going to happen to Thor in the Marvel Universe, because I believe Thor will be fine. It's Chris Hemsworth, the person, that everybody should be concerned with. And if he needs time to take away, it's not us to say, oh, don't go away. What are we going to do with our movies? No, it's really about go heal, go find out exactly what's wrong, because you have given us nothing but great entertainment. This guy has been a stellar guy, one of the great guys that we can look at and say, oh, he wasn't caught in no allegations, no stuff like that, and it's just like a model guy, and you look back and you say, wow, man, stuff like this happens to the good guys. Why is this? So he deserves to have that ability to dictate whatever he chooses, because it's his life, and no one should ever just worry about the character of Thor. We should be worrying about the person who's Chris Hemsworth.
Hmm. Very well said. And for people who may not know for certain, Chris Hemsworth hasn't exhibited clear signs that we might akin to Alzheimer's that we know of. This is just a genetic test that came back showing that in his DNA he has the predisposition of being more at risk of developing Alzheimer's later on. So making the smart decision of regrouping with his family and taking the time to basically get his affairs in order is a smart choice to make. And it also brings up the question and awareness that Chris Hemsworth and his family is in a beneficial position to do so, to take the opportunity to take time to leap back and essentially simplify his life for a little bit, as he said before in an interview. But there's about 2 to 3% population who share this with Chris Hemsworth. That is a huge number of actual people that might not be so lucky or fortunate. Healthcare is always a huge topic, especially here in the States, and there's a lot of people that don't have these type of resources or opportunities like Chris or the other people are able to attain. So it also brings up a healthy conversation of relooking at ways of making things like these more aware to people that might not know, and how maybe moving forward we can come together and help in the future.
Yes, I agree.
Yep, yep, yep. And like you said, this is also one of those situations that's similarly in the vein of how Chadwick Boseman's sudden passing, on how he was battling with health problems that people had no idea about on the scene, and recently us losing a huge titan in the industry of Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
Um, his portrayal of Batman has carried DC Comics and superhero portrayals for years, and that's a lot of people when they think of Batman, they think of Kevin Conroy. And it was just so sad to hear, seeing all the voice actors stepping forward and saying that he's the reason that I got into this industry and he was such a role model, was also heartwarming and heartbreaking. I remember growing up watching the Batman animated series starring Kevin Conroy and just being enamored with his voice more than anything, that iconic voice of being able to give such a distinct recognition of Batman as it comes to the scene. It wasn't anything short of just strong and heroic in its own way. Different than like a Superman or a Captain America, really personified that dark Avenger type of character.
Um, as Michael Keaton is the face of Batman, you know, uh, Mr. Conway is the voice of Batman forever and ever. Watching those old Batman animated series, he captured the whole persona of Batman, and he brought it across in his delivery
Hmm.
each and every time. So again, he died so young,
Yep.
66 years old. That is
Hmm.
absolutely too young to pass. His untimely death. I thought he had many, many more years of Batman if they decided to revisit, Batman animated shows or something of that nature. We don't know what the WB had, lined up. Could
Hmm.
have had something else, set up for him. But again, he will always and forever be known as the voice of Batman, and I'm pretty sure that he inspired uh, legions of
Hmm.
voice actors to perfect their craft and to be identified with a character in such an iconic way. So to get the role of Batman and to live up to the greatness of that role, to lose him, at such an early age is definitely a blow to the voice acting community, and
Hmm.
definitely a blow to the animated series, which Batman encompass. So my heart goes out to his family and anyone that actually knew him personally and is affected by his untimely demise.
Yep, very much agreed. Salute to Kevin Conroy and all of the amazing work that you've done throughout your years. You'll always be remembered and always be associated with the Dark Knight himself. And also, good energy, thoughts, and prayers to Chris Hemsworth and his family as well. And as we head into the holiday season, this is just a time to remember to keep your loved ones close and hold them tight because you never know what's going to happen.
Yes.
This has been the Lord's Minute. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at lordsofgaming.net. I'm Ty Swinson, here with Lord King, and this has been the Lord's Minute.
Peace.